As a Christian, one of our greatest desires is to experience and hear about God's glory, la gloria de Dios. We want to feel a sense of reverence and awe as we contemplate our God, the creator of all that we see and experience. The problem, though, is that most of us expect to have an almost supernatural type of encounter in order to truly appreciate la gloria de Dios. Realize, however, that if you simply stop, listen, and marvel at His creation, you will hear about God's glory on a daily basis. Today, we will learn some Spanish as we also learn to experience God's glory. Hello amigos, Roberto here, and welcome to Missionali, where we study the Bible, we live it, and we share it with the world. Now, before we actually get into today's topic, let me first go over a few helpful grammatical and pronunciation tips. Number 1, the word for earth is la tierra. Note that the emphasis is on the E and that the double R needs to be trilled. Tierra. Tip number 2, the word for heaven is el cielo, and the plural of it is los cielos. Again, the emphasis is on the E, cielo. The third and final tip is this. The word for creation is creación. Note that the stress is at the end of the word since that is where the accent is located. Creación. Claro? Clear? Muy bien. Let's begin with our first point. Isaías, the prophet, asks, ¿No han oído? Now, one of the great things about Spanish is that when a question is about to be asked in a written sentence, you will see an inverted question mark placed at the beginning to show that an interrogatory phrase is about to follow. To create this on an Android or iOS device, just long hold the question mark and the inverted question mark will appear. On a PC, it's Alt plus 168 on the numbers keypad. And on a Mac, it's Shift plus Option plus question mark. So now, back to the question. Han oído means you, plural, heard, or you have heard. Oído is the past tense of the verb oír, to hear. And since there's a no in front of these words, it simply translates into, have you not heard? Here, the question is being directed to a group of people. So, Isaías is asking these Israelites struggling with their faith and, us by extension, if they have not heard. Heard what? The evidence of God's glory and majesty. Look around creation, he says. Do you not hear it? ¿No han oído? Check Isaías capítulo 40, versículo 21. Los cielos proclaman la gloria de Dios. As we learned in the tips, los cielos means the heavens. Proclaman looks quite a bit like its English counterpart, proclaim. But here it's in its plural form to agree with los cielos. Now it can also mean declare. La gloria, as mentioned earlier, means the glory, and de Dios translates into of God. So here we have the heavens proclaim or declare the glory of God. In other words, all that you see above, the sun, the moon, clouds, stars, and sky, for example, have been perfectly created and fine-tuned by a sovereign God, un Dios soberano, as a witness to His creativity and majesty. So I ask you, ¿no han oído? Continuing, y el firmamento anuncia la obra de sus manos. Now, from my past videos, you know that the letter Y, pronounced like the English double E, means and el without an accent over the E means the. Again, we have another word that looks the same in English, firmamento, which means firmament. In English, we don't really use the word firmament very often, but instead we use its synonyms like sky and heaven. Next, we have anuncia, which looks like and can mean announce, but in this case it's more like declare. So the first part of our verse then is, and the sky announces. La obra translates into the work. Now this word obra can be used in quite a few different ways. It can mean a theater play, a book, and a musical piece, amongst many others. But here it simply means work. de sus manos means of his hands. So now we know from Juan capítulo 4, versículo 24 that God is spirit. Therefore, he doesn't have any hands in the sense that we think about it, but it's a way of simply saying that his immensity and grandeur are so far beyond our understanding that he can make el firmamento with his own hands. Our translation then is, and the sky announces the work of his hands. Check Salmo capítulo 19, versículo 1. Again, I ask you, ¿no han oído? Next, pero por toda la tierra salió su voz. In the tips we learned that la tierra means the earth. So here let's just focus on the beginning and the end. Pero is the conjunction but, and is included in the Spanish Bible that I'm using. However, as you can see, it's in italics, which in this case simply means that it was not in the original Hebrew. Por toda translates into through all or throughout. So the first part of our verse then is through all the earth. Are you catching on, amigos? Becoming a little clearer each time? ¿Sí? Muy bien. Salió is the past tense of the verb salir, which means to go out. And finally, su voz indicates their voice. Now, notice that the letter S in su is lowercase. So here it's not referring to God as we saw above in sus manos. So our verse then, if we want to make it sound just a little more familiar to our ears, their voice goes out through all the earth. And just to clarify, there is referring to the heavens and the sky. Los cielos y el firmamento. Check Salmo capítulo 19, versículo 4. Again, ¿no han oído? Our final sentence is, y hasta los confines del mundo sus palabras. Let's start with y hasta, which can simply mean and to, which is what we'll stick to here. However, if you want to be just a little bit more dramatic, you can also translate it as and all the way to, depending on the picture that you want to paint. Los confines stands for the ends or the limits, like a border. But when you put it together with del mundo, of the world, it means the ends of the world. And finally, sus palabras means their words. Again, there refers to the heavens and the sky. So if we rearrange it just a bit to make it sound a bit more natural in English, we have, and their words to the end of the world. Now, as I mentioned before, in Spanish, when the author wants to emphasize a certain word or concept in a sentence, that portion will go first. So here we are to note that the ends of the world is of primary importance. That is going to be the final location where these words will go. So again, I ask one last time, ¿no han oído? Now, as a final exercise, let's review each sentence that we went over today. Los cielos proclaman la gloria de Dios, y el firmamento anuncia la obra de sus manos. Por toda la tierra salió su voz, y hasta los confines del mundo sus palabras. Well, mis amigos, I really hope that you found our time beneficial and that your Spanish is improving. Now, if you really want to keep increasing your Spanish ability, check out these 2 videos at the end that I recently uploaded. As always, mis amigos, thank you so much for watching, and Lord willing, I will see you in the next video.